What's up guys, my name is Kale and today on the King of Games we're going to be doing a head-to-head comparison of two very similar seeming blasters. We've got the X-Shot Respawn and the Nerf Rival Vision. Let's see how they stack up. These two blasters at a glance are very similar, but they're priced quite differently. So, does the price equal performance? Are there key features we're missing? That's what we're here to find out. Let's go ahead and get these babies unboxed, and then we'll go over them individually. As far as packaging goes, I'd say it's pretty standard for the Vision. It's nice, it's nothing special. This is a plastic-free packaging, which is cool. Starting with what comes in the box for the Rival Vision, you get the blaster itself, a little package here with 8 AccuRival rounds, and this little pamphlet here, which, if you fold out, is just instructions on how to operate the blaster. Now for the blaster itself. Visually, I do like the color separations, the blue, the yellow, the black. It's a nice color scheme. Here we have the internal magazine, which holds 8 rounds, which is exactly how many rounds it comes with. We've got our trigger, we've got our ambidextrous safety, we've got your loading mechanism here, which for the internal magazine slides back, so you can load your rounds, unlock it, and then you're all loaded up. There are no rails on this blaster, so you can't attach your own optics or foregrips, but it does have a lot of built-in stuff, including these iron sights here. They are adjustable at an angle, as well as being able to move on a slide up and down. These don't seem particularly functional to me, but I guess we'll have to just wait and see. The ergonomics on this blaster are kind of 50-50. I do like that you have a comfortable place to rest your hand on this internal magazine, and that you'll be easily be able to grab your thumb and slide down here to reload, but I'm not a fan of this extreme angle. It just doesn't really serve a good purpose, and it makes you want to hold the blaster pointing up. Aesthetically, as expected, there's only paint on one side of the blaster, but the blaster itself does have a cool texture to it. This blaster retails for $21.99, and I have seen it fluctuate a little bit down to $17.99, but generally this is where I'm seeing it at the time of this video. Although I don't really care too much about the packaging, and I'm sure most of you don't as well, I do want to say that I kind of like what X-Shot's done here with this double-sided open packaging, and not that I think that the Vision would look better with this, but for a completely clear blaster, I think this is kind of just a cool packaging. And when it comes to the Respawn, in the box you get the blaster itself, 12 rounds of X-Shot's rival equivalent ammunition, a black and white printed instruction manual, and this clear little sticker pack. More thoughts on this part later. Now, let's take a look at the X-Shot Respawn. This blaster retails for about $14.99. I personally got mine on a sale for $11.99, but generally I'm seeing this at $14.99. This blaster is actually kind of interesting because it's a collaboration between X-Shot and FaZe. There is another blaster in this collaboration series. If you'd like to see me review it, or if you think there's a blaster I should compare it to specifically, then let me know down in the comments. If you don't know who FaZe is, well, to put it simply, they're like a group or team of professional gamers. And by gamers, I mean, of course, video games. How exactly this brand deal came apart, I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's a good sign from X-Shot that they're going to start putting a little bit older audiences into their priority list. The blaster itself, visually, is very appealing in my opinion. I really like when blasters are clear, because it's something you don't see that often. There's also a cool carbon fiber texture on this blaster. I think I would have liked to see it a little bit more than just in this spot right here, but I do appreciate the attention to detail nonetheless. The accents of red are very cool. The one thing so far visually that I take issue with is this situation, and I'm not sure how well you can see that, but these are basically little stickers that are clear. I mean, realistically, they don't seem to be of any particularly high quality, so to me, on the blaster itself, they kind of just look like printed tape. So I think I'm gonna be removing those for my personal bit. On the other side, there isn't any. However, with these stickers, you could definitely change that. And I think it's kind of weird, since they have a double-sided packaging where you can see both sides, that they didn't put anything on this side. But being that they gave us an easy way to change that, I think I'm gonna kind of let that one slide. This blaster has a similar, but not exactly the same kind of priming mechanism as the Vision. Instead of a rear prime handle, it has a top prime slide. This blaster doesn't have a prime indicator per se. However, being that it's clear and then the mechanism inside is red, it is easy to see that it is currently primed now and when it is not primed. I suspect that that wasn't necessarily intentional, but it serves the same function nonetheless. Looking at the top of this blaster, it does have an iron sight and a faux rail. This rail is not made for attachments. This is definitely fake. It also does have an orange tip up here. Because the blaster's clear, you can see a little bit more of it internally. And I do think because of the overall aesthetics of this blaster, it's not going to be an issue for public games at parks and things. But I do still kind of wish that they brought that a little bit further forward just for safety. There are no other rails on the blaster, so you can attach your own foregrip. However, because it's also an integrated magazine and the angle is very similar, you can also rest your hand here instead of having a foregrip. It also does have a safety mechanism here, which can be pushed on one side and back on the other. This blaster also has a dedicated jam door, which the Vision doesn't. Speaking of loading mechanisms, let's take a look at this blaster's. So right here you can see that there's also a sliding mechanism that locks down. Instead of loading from the top up here, like on the Vision, we actually load through the bottom here. Once we've loaded the blaster, we click this button here to release that, put pressure against the ammunition, and it's ready to fire. Just from messing with this blaster in the first few minutes, I think I like the ergonomics on this one better. It is more comfortable. This grip might be at the same level of angle as the other one, but for some reason it seems more comfortable, a little more natural to hold. I'm not exactly sure why that is. Maybe it's the smooth grip. As I use it more, I'm sure I'll get a better idea. So the mechanisms are similar, the silhouette is similar, and they use the same ammo type. I think it's time to go out on the field and get some metrics. Starting, of course, with an FPS test. Let's go. All right, we're gonna load up 5 rival rounds. And we're gonna see how this baby performs. Well, it'd help if I didn't hit the chronograph. Let's try that again. $93, $97, $96, $98, $92. Now let's load up 5 of these X-Shot rival rounds. And let's see what happens. 91, 80, 87. I hit the chronograph. Let's try that again. 89, 78. And that's it. Now clearly the Vision performed a little better than this Respawn here, but they do have different ammo that they came with, so I'm gonna try this ammo and see if I can get some better numbers. If the X-Shot's performance is a little bit better with this ammo, then we'll know that the ammo itself isn't as good for the blaster. But if we have roughly the same performance, then we know the blaster itself doesn't hit as high of numbers. I just figured out why I had a loading issue earlier. So when this is locked back and you press a ball through this little mechanism here, if the ball isn't all the way out, when you release this, it's going to slide across all of these and let them all out. So something to be careful for. However, if you make sure that every ball passes that little clip there, then it works without a hitch. All right, let's see what happens. 90, duplicate 90, 92, duplicate 92, 89. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure what happened, but my camera seems to have had a malfunction and a lot of the data was corrupted. I lost some of the FPS testing and all of the accuracy testing that I did for the blasters. Now, I'm gonna do it again because, well, I wanna finish the video, but also because when I was doing FPS testing, I had a large variance with the different types of ammo. Using the X-Shot, I got higher performance. One thing I want to say is that with the accuracy testing that I did before, I did get 4 out of 5 shots on the money with this blaster and this ammo, the one that it came with. However, I know that since I don't have that data to show you, it's not really fair to claim that. And so we're gonna go solely based on what we filmed from this point forward for the review. That being said, we are going to change things up a little bit and we are going to test all 3 kinds of ammo in the blaster. We'll shoot 5 of the ammo that the blaster came with, 5 of an ammo that is neutral that neither blasters came with, and then 5 of the opposition. Which means when we get to the X-Shot, it's gonna be the reverse. We're gonna shoot this ammo first, then the neutral ammo, and then the opposition. Okay, so let's get started. We're gonna do 5 of these and see how we do. All right, we're about 35, 40 feet away from this pole over there. Hit. Near miss. That's a hit. Near miss. Hit. Oh, and I just dry fired it. 4 out of 5 hit on that original test that I got corrupted footage. 3 out of 5 hit here. It's not quite the... I'm just gonna stop dwelling over it and we're gonna move on. 3 out of 5 for the AccuRival rounds. All right, so we have the Vision loaded up with the regular rival rounds and we're gonna see how the accuracy compares here. Miss, hit, miss, hit. Ooh, that was a near miss. And we're out. All right, I don't know if you can see that, but we now have the X-Shot respawns ammo in the Vision. We're going to shoot 5 and see how that goes. Hit. Miss. Ooh, a gnarly miss. Hit. And a hit. Well, I know I said I was going to stop dwelling over the corrupted data, but in the corrupted data, I had most of the time less wind, and I actually didn't get anywhere as good of results as that. There was 3 or 4 times between the 2 blasters where they just swerved off really hard. So I don't know, maybe it got corrupted and that was a good thing because I'm getting different results this time. All right, well, moving on. All right, so now we've got the respawn here. We're gonna load up. Oop. All right, so we've got the respawn here. We're gonna load up 5 of its own original ammo, and we're gonna see how that goes. Hit. Miss. 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 All right, so as you can see clearly here, we've got 5 of the neutral ammo or original Nerf rival. We're gonna shoot 5. The wind is a little bit worse now than it was when I shot some of the other ones, but you know, we just gotta roll with the punches on this one. Miss. That's a hit. All right, so we got 5 of the AccuRival rounds inside of the X-Shot blaster. We're gonna go ahead and take 5 shots and see how we do. But throughout this, I wanna say that I really like how easy it is to tell what's going on in the internal magazine simply by looking at the side of the blaster. So that's just another way or reason why. Like I was saying, with this clear blaster, it's really easy to see where the ammo is or how much you have of it. So that's kind of cool. I like that. And I also be able to for you guys to visually be able to see, hopefully, you know, what ammo's in it. Anyways, moving on with the test. Miss. Miss. Hit. Hit. Another miss. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the wind is slightly messing with this a little bit, but for the most part, this blaster fares well with any other ammo but its own. All right, so normally when I do a range test, I bring a tape measure with me to get exact distances, but it seems like I've been a hot mess this whole video. So instead, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do approximates. I'm gonna shoot 2 of each ammo type loaded in each of the blasters. But I feel like this is kind of turning into a comparison of ammo instead of a comparison of the blasters themselves, which is kind of unfortunate. This isn't exactly how I planned the video to go. But I think it just goes to show that, you know, ammo really does matter in some of these situations, and they're not all created equal. But we're gonna go ahead and do it this way to try and balance the differences between all the different types of ammo while still testing what we came here to test, which is the blasters themselves. So let's get into it. I'm gonna start out with this one on this side, this one on this side, and here we go. All right, so we're gonna start out with a straight shot with the Rival Vision. Let's see. That was pretty good, actually. That was surprisingly good. Straighter than most of the shots I got with the red ammo before. I'm gonna try one more time. Not as far, that definitely bounced. That's another thing that happens a lot with, you know, Rival or round ammo, is they do bounce a lot and far compared to other types of ammo usually. All right, first shot of the yellow regular rifle ammo. Second shot. First shot of AccuRival. And last shot. Okay, so I just collected all the ammo, and here's basically what I found. The first shot was roughly around, you know, 60 feet, and that was a X shot. The next shot was about 4 feet ahead of it, and that was a regular Rival round. About 1 foot to 2 feet in front of it was not one, but both of the Rival rounds. You know, they were a little oriented left or right, but they were both roughly the same feet. So 60, 64 feet, roughly 67 feet on these. The next one was about, you know, maybe 1 foot ahead of those. So we're looking at like 68, 69 feet. This one was the furthest shot, and it was maybe an additional 3 feet or so, so 72. So we're gonna go ahead and do the same tests with the other blaster and see how the results vary. So real quick before I do this test, I want to say another reason why I started shortening the amount of ammo was because I am actually red-green colorblind, and I've lost almost all of the red balls so far. I don't think that's a factor for most people. I'm not sure how easy it is for other people to see the red balls on green grass, but for me it's been extremely difficult. You know, even in situations where I know exactly where they went, I'm still having a little bit of a problem finding them. So for what it's worth, that's my explanation for having to kind of change this mid-round. I didn't have as tough of a problem in previous videos with like the max darts that are red, mostly because they're a little bit brighter of a red, and darker reds make it harder to see against darker greens for me. But anyways, enough rambling. Let's do the last part. All right, we got our first X shot. That was not that far. Second X shot. Ooh, most of that distance was honestly from bouncing. I don't know if you can see that. First regular rival. Second regular rival. Yeah. The reason I paused there is because one of these shots fell out. I forgot to do the thing I said where I make sure it's past the clip. All right, first Accu rival shot. And the second Accu rival shot. All right, so I've collected all the ammo for this round, and the first shot out there, not very far, is around 42 feet. The next one was an Accu rival, and that one was at 45 feet. The next one after that was a red X shot, and it was at 47 feet. After that, we had a Nerf rival, and this one was at about 56 feet, which is pretty good. Right after that, at around 57 feet, we had this Accu rival. The furthest one was this one, and it was at around 65 feet. But the problem with this one being the furthest is that I could clearly see an extensive bounce. So when it hit the ground, it got a lot more distance. And that's one of the problems with testing this type of ammo, not just this specific one, but any of the rival or round ammo, is that they bounce more. So this one's a little bit harder to do. I definitely have learned some things testing rival officially for the first time. So yeah, a lot of lessons learned here, and I'll try to be less of a hot mess in the next video. Let's head back and we'll go ahead and do our overall thoughts. Okay, so what are my overall thoughts between these two blasters? Well, they do both look similar, and to be honest, they perform similar. The real differences are really coming down to the ammo. So I think you couldn't go wrong either way if you got either one of these blasters, as long as the ammo you got for it wasn't the X-Shot ammo, because to be honest, it just doesn't perform well. But aside from that, there are a few little things that make me like one blaster over the other. And the blaster that I like more than the other is this one. Now, this is the less expensive one, so right off the bat, that's a solid win. But even if they cost the same price, I think I would still pick this one, because again, the performance differences are negligible at best. The only area where this slightly underperforms is on range. I feel like it has an easier prime. The priming mechanism itself is more stable. So what I'm talking about is this handle right here. It's kind of flimsy. The ergonomics of this blaster are also kind of poor. This grip is just really kind of like fat at the bottom, which makes it kind of uncomfortable, even though their angles are very similar. Stylistically, I think this blaster is pretty cool, but I am not a fan of the iron sights. They're really gimmicky, and I would much rather have like a very minimal iron sight or a rail or something. So that's just another flaw of this blaster. This mechanism is kind of crunchy and it doesn't perform that well. If you need to get a jam out, you can access it here, but it doesn't have a dedicated door, and unless you want to fire the blaster until it's completely empty, you can't really get all of the ammo out of it. Speaking of ammo, the one area that this does have a advantage, in my opinion, is that it holds 2 extra rounds, 8 versus the 6 in the respawn. But again, overall, I just don't think that that's a good enough reason to get this one over that one. It is what it is, but this one just kind of is overpriced in my opinion. Now that's not to say that it was bad, but when it's compared to this one, I just really like this blaster's aesthetics. I feel like this is a much more comfortable grip, and I like the way that this primes better. It does have a nice suction sound when it fires, which is kind of odd despite the fact that it performs just like a little bit less. If the blaster happens to be completely full, I think I mentioned this before, but if you don't get the ball all the way in there, past this little clip in there, it can, you know, eject all the ammo. Now, on the flip side of that, if you wanted to unload this blaster without firing every shot, you can basically make sure to push this little lip back until one ball is stopping it, then press this button here, and the release will drop the remainder of the ammo, which is pretty cool. I don't think it was intended to be used that way, but that's the way I'm going to use it. Last but not least, when it comes to the jam door itself, you can actually leave it open or open it up, load directly into the breach, and fire, which is kind of cool. Again, I don't know if it was necessarily intended that way, but I don't know, the aesthetics of this blaster, the carbon fiber here, I just think that, I don't know, there's something intangibly better about this blaster and the way that it feels. Yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the two. But again, I don't think you could necessarily go wrong. I think this just comes down to a preference. Anywho, let me know if there are any other blasters that you'd like us to compare here on the channel. Rather it be comparing one of these two blasters to another blaster, or if it's another set of blasters you think are similar and need to be compared to each other. Either way, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments if you have one of these blasters and what you think of them. Well, that's all for this time on the King of Games. Until next time, have a blast.